When you see someone shining on the stage, standing tall with the spotlight reflecting their success, you might think they were always confident, always strong, always certain of their path. But the truth is, winners are never built in the light. They are built in the darkest hours when no one is watching. Winners are built when they choose to stand up at 4 a.m. while the world still sleeps, their eyes burning with exhaustion, but their hearts on fire with purpose. Winners are built when they study while their friends are partying, when they work on their craft while others scroll through social media, when they plan their empire while others waste time gossiping about people who are doing nothing for their lives. Winners are built in the dark moments when they are alone with their fears, questioning whether they have what it takes, hearing the echoes of doubt whispering in their minds telling them to quit. And yet, they keep going. They keep fighting. They keep building. Because they know the truth. If you cannot build yourself in the dark, you will crumble under the light. In the dark, there is no praise, no applause, no recognition. There is only discipline. Discipline is painful because it demands sacrifice. It demands that you give up your comforts, your distractions, your pleasures today for the life you want tomorrow. It demands that you keep showing up even when you are tired. Keep working even when you are uninspired. Keep believing even when you feel broken. And that is where winners are forged. They are not born with magic. They are born with pain. They are born with rejection. They are born with failure after failure after failure until failure no longer scares them. Until rejection no longer controls them. Until pain no longer breaks them, but builds them. That is the secret of winners. They use what breaks others to build themselves. They use what discourages others to drive themselves. They use what makes others quit to fuel their relentless rise. You must understand this. Your dark days are not curses. They are blessings in disguise. Because darkness gives birth to light. Pain gives birth to strength. Failure gives birth to wisdom. Rejection gives birth to redirection. Every winner you admire today once sat alone in the dark, crying silent. Tears that no one saw, questioning if they would ever make it out of their suffering. But they didn't stop there. They wiped those tears, stood up with trembling knees, and took another step forward. Step by step, they built unbreakable strength. Inch by inch, they built unshakable confidence. Day by day, they built unstoppable discipline. That is why winners walk differently. They walk with calm power. Their eyes hold silent storms they survived. Their hands carry invisible scars of battles they fought alone. Their hearts beat with the music of countless nights spent praying, working, believing, and fighting for a dream no one else understood. That is why winners are humble, because they know what it took. They know the price. They know the pain. When you see them under the light, do not envy them. Instead, ask yourself, are you willing to live like they lived in the dark? Are you willing to suffer silently, to rise loudly? Are you willing to be misunderstood for years to be admired for a lifetime? Are you willing to be alone to build? The strength required to lead millions? Because that is the real test. That is the secret no one wants to tell you. Everyone wants the life winners live, but no one wants to endure the life winners endure. Everyone wants to shine in the light, but no one wants to sweat in the dark. Everyone wants to be respected, but no one wants to be rejected. Everyone wants confidence, but no one wants to walk through fear again and again until fear bows down to their courage. You must choose, because you cannot have both comfort and greatness. You cannot have both praise and progress. You cannot have both ease and excellence. Winners choose progress over praise. They choose growth over comfort. They choose discipline over pleasure. They choose the dark over the light, knowing that one day their darkness will become their greatest testimony. Because when the light finally shines on them, when the world finally notices, They will stand there unshaken, unbreakable, unstoppable. Not because they needed the applause, but because they were built without it. They were built in silence. They were built in darkness. They were built with tears, with pain, with prayer, with relentless discipline. That is why they cannot be destroyed. Because the world didn't build them. The world cannot break them. Their discipline built them. Their faith built them. Their sacrifices built them. Their nights alone built them. Their failures built them. Their hunger built them. Their belief built them. And that is why winners walk differently, talk differently, move differently. Because they are not here to please the world. They are here to fulfill their purpose. They are here to live the life they promised themselves when no one else cared. They are here to honor the pain that built them into legends. They are here to show the world that darkness is not the end. Darkness is the beginning of everything powerful, everything beautiful, everything unbreakable. So if you are in your dark season right now, embrace it. Do not run from it. Do not curse it. Do not complain about it. Embrace it with all your heart. Because this is your building season. This is your training ground. This is where your name is written in the invisible books of the universe, as someone who refused to quit, as someone who chose to build when no one believed, as someone who chose to keep going when no one understood, as someone who chose to rise when everything tried to break them. Because one day, the light will shine on you too. And on that day, you will stand there calm, powerful, and fearless. Because you will know the secret: winners are built in the dark. People think success is about talent. They think winners are born with something special, something magical that others don't have. But the truth is, talent is only a seed. Without discipline, it rots in darkness. Without daily sacrifice, it dies before it ever sees the light. Winners know this. That is why they do not rely on talent alone. They rely on their hunger. They rely on their discipline to wake up when their body screams for rest, to keep working when their mind is exhausted, to keep building when there is no motivation left inside them. Because motivation fades, discipline remains. Winners are not motivated every day. They are disciplined every day. That is why they keep growing when others give up. They keep learning when others think they know enough. They keep moving forward when others are stuck blaming circumstances, blaming the economy, blaming their family, blaming their past. Winners take responsibility. Even for things that are not their fault, they take responsibility. Because they know responsibility is power. When you blame, you give away your power. When you take responsibility, you claim your power back. Winners take responsibility for their lives, their choices, their failures, their mindset, their results. That is why they are powerful. Because they know no one is coming to save them. No one is coming to make their dreams come true. No one is coming to fix their mindset, build their business, study for them, work out for them, pray for them, meditate for them, create content for them, make money for them. It is all on them, and they embrace that truth. They embrace it with a smile because they know it means their life is in their own hands. That is freedom. That is power. Winners know they are the creators of their reality. They don't wait for luck. They create opportunities with their sweat, with their study, with their faith, with their relentless execution. They don't talk about what they will do. They do it. They don't announce every move. They move silently and let their results speak louder than their words. Because winners understand that silence is power. The less you speak about your plans, the stronger your energy remains. The less you explain your goals, the clearer your vision stays. The less you care about being understood, the faster you rise. Winners do not care about being understood. They are too busy understanding themselves, too busy mastering their mind, too busy building their empire, too busy working on their next move. That is why when the light finally shines on them, everyone is shocked. Everyone wonders how they did it, where they came from, how they became so powerful, so wise, so wealthy, so disciplined. They came from the same place everyone starts. They just refused to stay there. They came from darkness, from pain, from doubt, from failure, but they didn't let it destroy them. They let it build them. When people laughed, they worked. When people doubted, they believed. When people hated, they loved their purpose even more. When people left them, they walked alone with calm confidence, knowing that solitude sharpens the soul. Winners know loneliness is a gift. In solitude, you meet yourself. In solitude, you hear the whispers of your soul guiding you towards your purpose. In solitude, you build a bond with God that no crowd can ever give you. In solitude, you become your own best friend, your own coach, your own motivator. That is why winners are unbreakable, because they learn to stand alone. They learn to depend only on their faith, their discipline, their vision. They learn to build without applause, to grow without praise, to keep moving forward with no one clapping for them. And when you do that long enough, you become dangerous. Dangerous to every excuse you once believed. Dangerous to every limitation your mind once accepted. Dangerous to the mediocrity that once trapped you. Because now, you are unstoppable. You have seen your own darkness. You have fought your own demons. You have faced your own fears. And you rose from them stronger, wiser, calmer, hungrier. That is what makes winners powerful. Their pain built them into warriors. Their failures built them into champions. Their tears watered the seeds of their greatness. And their silent nights built the strength the world now sees. So when you see someone winning today, know this. It didn't happen in the light. It happened in the dark. And if you want to become like them, stop seeking the light too soon. Stay in your dark season and build yourself. Stay in your dark season and master your mind. Stay in your dark season and sharpen your skills. Stay in your dark season and discipline your body, your habits, your energy, your words, your thoughts, your prayers, your goals. Because when your light comes, you will be ready to handle it. You will be strong enough to carry the success that would break weaker minds. You will be wise enough to stay grounded when the world claps for you. You will be disciplined enough to keep building even after you win, because that is what real winners do. They never stop. They never settle. They never think they have arrived. They keep building, because for them, winning is not an outcome. It is a way of life. When winners wake up in the morning, they don't check their phones first to see who liked their post or who replied to their message. They wake up thinking about their mission. They wake up thinking about the work they need to do today to get closer to their dreams. They don't wake up looking for motivation because they know motivation is temporary. They wake up relying on discipline. They wake up with gratitude in their hearts because they know each day is a gift. They know each breath is a blessing. They know each sunrise is another chance to fight for what they want, and they do not waste it. Winners respect time because they know time is life. Every second wasted is life wasted. That is why winners live intentionally. They plan their days, their weeks, their months, their years. They know what they want, and they move towards it every day. Even if it is just a small step, they take it, because they know small steps lead to big victories. Winners are not always the smartest. They are not always the most talented, but they are always the most disciplined. They are always the most consistent. They are always the most focused. And that focus comes from pain. Pain teaches you what truly matters. Pain removes distractions. Pain forces you to look inwards, to ask yourself why you are here, what you really want, who you really are. Winners use their pain to build their purpose. When life breaks them, they don't stay broken. They use the broken pieces to build a stronger foundation. When life tests them, they don't complain about the test. They study it, learn from it, and pass it with excellence. That is what makes winners so rare. Most people complain. Winners learn. Most people give up. Winners grow. Most people wait for opportunities. Winners create opportunities. Most people talk about their dreams. Winners work on their dreams. Most people blame the world. Winners build their world. That is why winners are respected, even by those who hate them, even by those who envy them. Because deep down, everyone knows the truth. Winners earned their greatness. They earned it with lonely nights, with silent tears, with countless failures, with endless sacrifices, with unbreakable discipline. Their success was not given to them. It was built by them. That is the secret. There is no shortcut. There is no magic pill. There is no easy way. There is only work. Consistent, focused, disciplined, relentless work. Work done in silence. Work done when no one sees, when no one cares, when no one believes. Work done not for praise, but for purpose. Work done not to impress others, but to honor the gift of life they were given. Winners live with gratitude. Even in pain, they are grateful. Even in failure, they are grateful. Because they know pain builds them, failure teaches them, rejection protects them, and struggle strengthens them. Winners see life differently. They see obstacles as opportunities to grow. They see challenges as training for greatness. They see darkness as the birthplace of their light. They see criticism as feedback. They see haters as free marketers spreading their name. They see every situation as a chance to become better, stronger, wiser, calmer, and more powerful. That mindset is what makes them unstoppable, because nothing can break them. Nothing can discourage them for long. Nothing can distract them from their vision. Winners walk with silent confidence, knowing they are building something bigger than themselves. They are building a legacy. They are building a life that will inspire others long after they are gone. They are building a version of themselves that their younger self would be proud of and their future self will thank them for. That is why they keep going, even when tired, even when broken, even when betrayed, even when doubted, even when laughed at, because they know winners are built in the dark, and this darkness is only making them stronger. Winners are not worried about what people think of them. They don't care about fitting in, because they were born to stand out. They don't care about being liked, because they are too busy becoming respected. They don't care about being accepted, because they have already accepted themselves. Winners know that people will talk no matter what you do. If you fail, they will laugh. If you succeed, they will envy. If you do nothing, they will judge. If you do everything, they will criticize. So winners decide to do what needs to be done, regardless of opinions. Because they know opinions don't pay bills. Opinions don't build businesses. Opinions don't build legacies. Only work does. Only discipline does. Only focus does. Only unbreakable faith does. That is why winners are so free. Free from fear. Free from judgment. Free from validation addiction. Because they understand that most people project their own fears onto others. Most people's opinions are limitations they place on themselves. Winners refuse to accept those limitations. They know their potential is limitless. They know their destiny is theirs to build. And they wake up every day with that truth burning in their chest. Winners don't need motivation videos to keep going, because their dreams motivate them every single day. Their families motivate them. Their pain motivates them. Their past struggles motivate them. Their vision of who they want to become motivates them. Winners wake up thinking about their goals. They go to sleep thinking about their goals. They dream about their goals. They breathe their goals. They bleed for their goals. That is why they get results that others call impossible. Because they do what others are not willing to do. They endure what others are not willing to endure. They sacrifice what others are not willing to sacrifice. Winners don't waste time gossiping about other people. They spend their time building themselves. Winners don't waste time worrying about who likes them or not. They spend their time learning skills, mastering their craft, expanding their mindset, deepening their faith. Winners don't waste time complaining about life. They spend their time creating the life they want. That is what makes them powerful. While others are distracted by entertainment, winners are building their empire in silence. While others are waiting for the right time, winners are creating the right time with their daily actions. While others are blaming the world, winners are taking full responsibility for every choice they make. That is why when success comes, they are ready for it. Because they built themselves in the dark so they could shine fearlessly in the light. And when they shine, they don't shine for fame. They shine to light the way for others still walking in darkness. Because real winners don't compete with others. They compete with their yesterday. They compete with their weaknesses. They compete with their excuses. They compete with their fears. Their only competition is themselves. That is why they keep growing, keep learning, keep evolving, keep rising. And the world sees them and calls them extraordinary. But in truth, they are just ordinary people with extraordinary discipline. Ordinary people with extraordinary focus. Ordinary people with extraordinary faith. Ordinary people with an extraordinary refusal to give up no matter how many times life knocks them down. That is the secret. Winners are not special. They are just relentless. They are just hungry. They are just willing to go through the pain that others avoid. They are just willing to walk alone while others need company. They are just willing to sacrifice today's comfort for tomorrow's greatness. They are just willing to believe in themselves when no one else does. And that is why they win. That is why they rise. That is why they stand out in a world full of people who gave up on themselves too soon. Winners know that comfort is the enemy of growth. They know that every time you choose comfort over struggle, you weaken your own potential. Winners reject comfort because comfort kills dreams silently. It makes you forget your hunger. It makes you forget your pain. It makes you forget your purpose. Winners know that pain keeps you alive. Pain keeps you real. Pain keeps you grounded. Pain reminds you that you are still fighting, that there is something worth fighting for. That is why winners do not run from pain. They run towards it. They run towards the workouts that hurt. They run towards the tasks they fear. They run towards the skills they don't know. They run towards the habits that challenge their old self. Because they know that is where transformation happens. Transformation does not happen in comfort. It happens in chaos, in sweat, in tears, in sacrifice. When you see someone disciplined beyond imagination, understand that they were not born like that. They built it, day by day, hour by hour, choice by choice. They chose to wake up when their bodies screamed to sleep. They chose to stay quiet and work when their ego wanted to prove itself to the world. They chose to learn when their mind wanted to relax. They chose to keep fighting when their heart wanted to give up. That is what makes them winners. They master their mind before their mind masters them. They master their emotions before their emotions destroy their discipline. They master their habits before their habits define their destiny. Winners are builders. They build themselves. They build their mindset, their character, their energy, their life. They know no one else is coming to build it for them. That is why they are powerful. Winners respect time more than anyone. They know time is life. When you waste time, you waste your life. When you waste life, you disrespect your Creator who gave you the gift of existence. Winners live every day with purpose. Even their rest is strategic. Even their entertainment is limited and intentional. Even their social life is filtered. Because they value energy. They protect their focus. They know distractions are expensive. They cost dreams. They cost years. They cost potential. That is why winners say no easily. No to people who drain them. No to habits that slow them. No to thoughts that weaken them. No to excuses that limit them. No to beliefs that imprison them. They say no because their yes is sacred. Their yes is reserved for their goals, their family, their dreams, their Creator. Winners do not seek validation because they already validate themselves with their discipline. They do not seek praise because they already praise their own consistency. They do not seek acceptance because they have already accepted their flaws, their darkness, their weaknesses, their past. That is why winners cannot be manipulated. You cannot shame them with their failures. They use their failures as fuel. You cannot break them with your hate. They turned hate into hunger. You cannot discourage them with rejection. They turned rejection into redirection. You cannot destroy them with pain. They turned pain into power. That is why when winners speak, their words pierce your soul, because they speak with scars that healed into wisdom. They speak with eyes that have seen the darkest nights and still saw the light of God guiding them forward. They speak with hearts that have been broken 1,000 times and still beat with hope, faith, and unstoppable love for their purpose. Winners are not normal people. They are warriors disguised as humans. They are flames walking among ashes. They are oceans hidden in silent puddles. They are storms hidden behind calm smiles. When you meet them, you feel something different. You feel their energy. You feel their certainty. You feel their faith, because it is real. It is built. It is forged in pain. It is polished in sacrifice. It is crowned with discipline. That is the secret of winners. They were built in the dark when no one clapped for them. They were built in silence when no one noticed them. They were built in tears when no one wiped them. They were built in prayers, whispered through trembling lips when no one heard them. That is why their light cannot be dimmed. It was born from darkness. That is why their strength cannot be shaken. It was built by storms. That is why their focus cannot be broken. It was forged in chaos. That is why their faith cannot be destroyed. It was nurtured in hopelessness. And that is why they walk with unbreakable calm, because they have been through hell and came out holding heaven within their hearts. They have been buried in darkness, but rose as light for the world. They have been hated, but learned to love themselves deeper. They have been doubted, but learned to believe in themselves louder. Winners are not loud with their words. They are loud with their results. They don't argue with fools. They don't compete with noise. They don't chase applause. They build. They grow. They focus. They rise, silently, patiently, consistently. And when the world finally sees them, it looks like an overnight success. But it was never overnight. It was thousands of nights. Nights of fear, nights of doubt, nights of prayer, nights of exhaustion, nights of loneliness, nights of relentless faith. That is the secret no one wants to hear. Because everyone wants success, but no one wants the darkness that builds it. Everyone wants the crown, but no one wants the weight. Everyone wants the stage, but no one wants the silence that prepares you for it. Winners embrace it all. That is why they become legends, while others remain forgotten whispers in the winds of wasted potential. Winners understand something most people ignore their entire lives, that suffering is not the worst thing in life. Living without purpose is. Living each day with no growth, no mission, no contribution is the true tragedy. Winners know that pain is temporary, but regret is forever. That is why they would rather endure the pain of discipline than the pain of regret. They would rather sweat now than bleed later. They would rather be exhausted working on their dreams than be well rested in a life they hate. Winners do not chase easy paths because they know easy paths lead to hard lives. They choose the hard path now to build an easy life later. They choose the struggle now to build freedom later. Because winners are driven by vision, not by feelings. Their feelings tell them to quit, to sleep, to relax, to avoid risk. But their vision tells them to wake up, to work, to keep moving forward, even if they don't feel ready. That is why they are unstoppable, because they don't wait to feel ready. They act their way into readiness. They don't wait to feel confident. They build confidence by taking action despite fear. They don't wait to feel motivated. They build motivation by keeping promises to themselves, by stacking tiny wins daily, by witnessing their own discipline in action. That is how confidence is built, by showing yourself you can trust yourself. That is why winners walk differently. Their steps carry certainty, because they know their own work ethic. They know their own sacrifices. They know how many times they woke up early when others slept, stayed late when others went home, practiced when others partied, studied when others scrolled, disciplined their mind when others indulged in endless distractions. Winners build their confidence in the dark. That is why their light is unbreakable, because it is not built on external praise. It is built on internal proof. They have seen themselves do hard things over and over until doing hard things became normal. Winners normalise discomfort. They normalise doing what others fear. They normalise showing up no matter how they feel. They normalise relentless discipline. And that is why to them, winning is inevitable, because their habits are aligned with their goals. Their daily actions are aligned with their dreams. Their mindset is aligned with their mission. Winners understand that every thought matters. Every word matters. Every choice matters. Every hour matters. Because everything is either taking you closer to your dreams or further away. There is no neutral. Every day you are either building your vision or building someone else's. That is why winners live intentionally. They do not let life happen to them. They happen to life. They don't let the day control them. They control the day. They don't let distractions steal their focus. They eliminate distractions ruthlessly because they know time is not money. Time is life, and once it is gone, it never returns. Winners are obsessed with progress. They measure themselves not against others, but against their past self. They ask themselves every day, am I better than I was yesterday? Is my mind sharper? Is my discipline stronger? Is my vision clearer? Is my energy purer? That is how they keep growing. Winners are not worried about competition. They know there is no competition when you are competing with yourself. When you master yourself, there is no one left to beat, because your only enemy was ever your old self, your old excuses, your old laziness, your old fears, your old doubts. When you defeat that old version of yourself, you are reborn. Reborn as a winner. Reborn as someone who walks with unbreakable faith, unshakable discipline, unstoppable hunger. That is why winners seem fearless. It is not that fear disappears. It is that they have learned to dance with fear. They have learned to hear fear's voice and move forward anyway. They have learned to use fear as fuel instead of chains. Because winners know fear is a compass. It shows you exactly where you need to go. The things you fear the most are the things that will grow you the most. Winners run towards their fears because they know that is where their next level is hiding. And every time they conquer a fear, they expand. Their confidence expands. Their possibilities expand. Their vision expands. Their impact expands. That is the secret. Winners grow by doing what scares them. Again and again and again until nothing scares them anymore except the idea of wasting their life. That is the only thing winners fear, regret. Leaving this world without having used every drop of their potential, without having fulfilled their purpose, without having built something that outlives them. That is what keeps them up at night. That is what wakes them up in the morning. That is what drives them in the darkness when no one is watching. And that is what makes them winners. Winners are not moved by praise, and they are not broken by criticism. They remain centered, because their mission is bigger than both praise and criticism. They know praise is dangerous. If you let it enter your head, it weakens your hunger. If you become addicted to it, it controls your actions. Winners do not act to be praised. They act because it is who they are, because their discipline is part of their identity, because their excellence is part of their existence. Praise does not inflate their ego. Criticism does not shrink their vision. They remain grounded, grounded in truth, grounded in faith, grounded in purpose. Because winners know the secret. The only validation that matters is from God and from your own conscience. If your conscience is clean and your Creator is pleased, you are successful. No matter what the world says, that is why winners sleep peacefully. Even on nights they lose, they sleep knowing they gave their best. They kept their integrity. They stayed disciplined. That is enough for them, because they know losses are temporary. Discipline is forever. Success is built by those who can handle losing without losing their hunger. Those who can handle rejection without rejecting themselves. Those who can handle failure without letting it define them. Winners are not afraid to fail because they never see failure as final. Failure is just a lesson. Failure is just a stepping stone. Failure is just redirection. Winners fail forward. They fail with their eyes open, their mind learning, their soul growing. That is why every failure makes them stronger, because they extract every lesson from it and never repeat the same mistake twice. Winners evolve so fast because they are humble enough to admit when they are wrong. They are humble enough to ask for guidance, to seek knowledge, to listen to criticism without letting it poison their mind. They are wise enough to know they do not know everything. That is why they keep learning long after others stop. Winners are students of life forever, because they know the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. That is why they read books. That is why they listen to mentors. That is why they reflect on their mistakes. That is why they study themselves deeply. Winners know self-awareness is the foundation of all greatness. Because if you do not know yourself, you will never master yourself. If you do not master yourself, you will never master your destiny. Winners are obsessed with self-mastery. They want to know every weakness so they can strengthen it. They want to know every fear so they can conquer it. They want to know every lie their mind tells them so they can replace it with truth. Winners are not scared of their darkness because they know their darkness holds their power. In their darkness lies their real fears, their real insecurities, their real pain. And by facing that darkness, they reclaim all the energy it was draining from them. That is why winners are fearless, because they have faced their own soul without masks. They know their flaws and still love themselves deeply. They know their sins and still forgive themselves completely. They know their failures and still believe in themselves fully. That is why the world cannot break them, because they have built themselves from within. Their strength does not come from external validation. It comes from spiritual alignment, from daily discipline, from silent battles won in the chambers of their mind and the temples of their heart. Winners are dangerous because you cannot manipulate someone who knows themselves. You cannot destroy someone who has faced their own demons. You cannot scare someone who has already lived through their worst fears. Winners walk with an unbreakable calm because they know who they are. They know where they are going. They know why they are here. That clarity is their power. That clarity is their compass in a world lost in confusion. And that is why winners lead while others follow. That is why winners inspire while others envy. That is why winners build while others complain. That is why winners create legacies while others leave nothing behind but regrets and forgotten dreams. Winners are built in the dark, in the silence of lonely nights, in the struggle of disciplined days, in the quiet pain of sacrifices no one understands, in the prayers whispered through tears, in the faith tested by endless delays, in the courage to keep going when every part of their body wants to give up. That is where winners are born. And when the world finally sees their light, it is only witnessing the tip of an iceberg built by unseen sacrifices, unspoken pain, and unimaginable discipline. Every great victory begins long before the world ever sees it. Winners are built in the dark, in those quiet, lonely moments when no one is watching, when the struggles seem endless, and giving up feels like the easiest choice. It is in those unseen hours of hard work, sacrifice, and relentless determination that true champions are forged. The secret of winners isn't about having the most talent or the easiest path. It's about having the courage to keep going when the road is rough, the patience to trust the process even when progress seems invisible, and the faith that your time will come. It's about waking up each day, ready to fight for your dreams. No matter how many times you've been knocked down, success is not an accident. It's a result of countless small decisions, to push just one more time, to learn from failure instead of fearing it, to keep your eyes on the goal even when the journey feels endless. Every setback, every moment of doubt, every sacrifice is quietly building the strength you need to stand tall when your moment arrives. Remember, the night may be long, and the darkness may feel overwhelming, but the dawn always breaks. The pain you endure today, the hard work you put in behind the scenes, it's all laying the foundation for your triumph tomorrow. What others see as impossible, you will turn into your greatest achievement because you refuse to quit. So stay strong, stay focused. Keep pushing forward, even when no one else believes in you. Believe in yourself more than ever before. Your dreams are worth every sleepless night and every challenge you face. Winners don't wait for opportunities to come knocking. They create them in the dark. Hold on to your vision. Keep building your story quietly but powerfully. Because when the world finally sees you rise, they will witness the unstoppable force you've become. Your time is coming. And when it arrives, it will be more glorious than you ever imagined. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Keep winning.